Good morning. It is 9:06 from Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, and we are live from sunny, warm Phoenix, Arizona. I hate to rub it in on a day that is wet in Middle Tennessee, but it's nice in Phoenix. We're down here for America Fest. I'm here with my friends at Turning Point USA. We got a lot of fun going on all weekend long. It is the biggest conservative event of the year, and we've been planning this thing since before the election. I'll be honest with you. Before the election, we're like, is this going to be a funeral or a celebration? But golly, did it work out in our favor. It is going to be the biggest celebration of America that I've ever been a part of. I mean, it's going to put the 4th of July to shame. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't think I'm going to have a 4th of July in any of my memories that is going to top this weekend. And you can join in and watch it all weekend long, live online on the Turning Point USA YouTube, website, all the things. So definitely check that out. You can watch us live right now. We're on Supertalk TV, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. You can find me all weekend long. I'll be providing updates on Twitter, Instagram, True Social, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. Mason is in the studio producing. Joan Jones is in the newsroom. And you guys on the Super Text line at 615-737-9986. We got a lot to get to. A lot. And really, right now, the way it looks is that everybody is doing everything they can to Trump-proof the presidency and the country as we head towards January 20th. Everybody, we have to Trump-proof America. Now, whether that's Joe Biden selling border wall materials or it's individuals like the ACLU who announced just the other night that they got a whole game plan to pressure local officials into blocking the Trump agenda. It was on the Rachel Maddow show. The head of the ACLU, Anthony Ramiro, was there, and he was there to tell Rachel Maddow about all of the policies and all of the methods that they're working on to oppose the Trump administration before Trump even takes office. And it just feels so reminiscent of 2016, except for the fact that currently the American public have an absolute mandate for Donald Trump to do what needs to be done, whether that's on the border, whether that's on the economy, whether that's on foreign policy. Americans trust Donald Trump. They approve of the transition, and they're ready to get this country back. But that doesn't stop far leftist organizations like the ACLU from trying to Trump-proof everything. I mean, it's just absolutely unreal. But ACLU head Anthony Ramiro literally said that they have a whole game plan to work with local officials to defy the Trump administration. Mason, play the clip.
Tell me about how you at the ACLU are thinking about your plans to try to defend American civil liberties in this term versus the first term.
Well, we've been planning for almost a year. We were anticipating the possibility that he would win this election. So we've spent thousands of staff hours studying Project 2025, tracking the campaign promises, going back and playing back what happened in Trump 1.0 to see what might happen with Trump 2.0. And so we've been trying to get ready for this whole period of time.
You know, he's got to get ready. He's got to get ready, and he says, "We've been studying Project 2025." Yes, go ahead. Continue to study Project 2025. I don't know why they're studying a game plan that the Trump administration has clearly said it isn't their game plan. Why wouldn't you just listen to Trump and what he's saying? I mean, he's essentially laid out what he wants to do. Make America great again. If that's something you're against, hey, by all means, be against it. And the ACLU is absolutely against it. Keep going, Mason.
Back what happened in Trump 1.0 to see what might happen with Trump 2.0. And so we've been trying to get ready for this whole period of time. We can't run the same playbook. They're going to be more aggressive. They're smarter. They're faster off the block. They are really they're running the gauntlet on many of the policy issues that they didn't dare try last time. They're going to run the ball down the field. And so we have to be much smarter and much better prepared.
You know, I love how he says, listen, they're faster now. They're smarter now. They're not going to run the same game plan. Yeah, listen, we are far improved from where we were in 2016. And this is what scares the radical left. We understand the games that they're going to play, and we're ready for it. We're ready now in a way we weren't in 2016, and it terrifies them. So they can game plan all they want. They can kick and scream and throw a temper tantrum. It's not going to change the reality that the Trump administration has a mandate. Donald Trump has a mandate from the American people. But the ACLU still, I mean, listen, they're going to do everything they can to oppose this. And we expected this. Keep going, Mason.
Is going to be key. The courts still are a place we have to turn to. We have to be wide-eyed that the courts are also increasingly conservative, and he will appoint new judges onto the courts. It's also true that Biden appointed a record number of judges on the courts, and so not all is lost. But good lawyers are going to have to earn their pay by picking the right clients, the right cases, the right theories. Where do you file? Where do you settle? Where do you really push the envelope? And that's what really we're working through right now.
That's what they're working on. We got to figure out where to fight, where to push, where to settle. Good luck. Best of luck to you, sir. Best of luck to the entire ACLU. And I say that in jest. I hope you fail, and I think you will. And I think that the American people are going to see right through your entire agenda. Completely see through it. It doesn't stop them from wanting to oppose Trump. And listen, this is what they live for now. This is going to be what they eat, sleep, and breathe. We're going to see TDS at all-time highs. And we're going to see them try to fight back. I think they're going to fail. I have a good feeling that they're going to fail. And we're seeing it even in the light, in the face of rhinos who seem to be against the Trump administration. They're getting pushback from the American people. These Democrat operative organizations are going to get pushback from the American people, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to stop them from fighting. It's not going to stop radical leftists from speaking out and trying to oppose the Trump administration. And we're seeing that now. Liz Warren is like on a war against Trump and Elon Musk and saying that there's conflicts of interest because of Elon being an advisor for Trump, because of Elon being involved with DOGE. And it's like, Liz Warren, you don't think that the government spends too much money? You don't think that Elon Musk is an effective man? I mean, look at the companies that he's run. This guy can do more with less. That's what we want in the government, and that's why he has Donald Trump's ear. But Liz Warren is demanding that Trump set up a conflict of interest agreement for Elon Musk. Yep, Liz Warren, Pocahontas. She was talking about Trump on Monday and whether that clear conflict of interest guidelines will govern Elon Musk if he intends to continue being a key advisor to the incoming president. The Washington Post reported this. There was an emailed letter from Warren's office in the Senate to Trump, and it says that everyone on the Trump-Vance 2025 transition team is subject to an ethics policy that insists they avoid both actual and apparent conflicts of interest. Now, that policy, disseminated by the General Services Administration, prohibits the transition team personnel from engaging in particular matters involving specific parts that affect their interests. And Musk, he's the richest person in the world, $474 billion. He contributed quite a few dollars to the Trump campaign, a couple $100 million, and he was with Trump on election night, and he hasn't really left his side since. And people around him are referring to him as the first buddy. He's the joint head of the Department of Government Efficiency, along with Vivek Ramaswamy, and this is really, really putting some sand in the underpants of Elizabeth Warren. And she's upset about it. She's very upset about it. And she was fuming, absolutely fuming on MSNBC about this conflict of interest. Mason, if you can play the clip from Pocahontas on MSNBC.
Hold on. Sorry, Chris. I'm trying to pull that up here for you, and it's taking a little bit longer than we expected.
No. It's okay. But when you get to the clip, I think something that you need to really soak in and revel in is how absolutely angry Elizabeth Warren is and the joy that should bring you. She is so salty, and she's bringing these comments on MSNBC, and then she's getting absolutely trolled for these comments online. She's very, very upset that Musk has Donald Trump's ear. And she's even more upset that she doesn't know what Musk is whispering in Donald Trump's ear. This is Elizabeth Warren for you. This is the Democrat Party for you. They're fuming. Absolutely fuming. Because they don't have control. And that's all the left wants, is control. If you can play the clip for me.
So think about it this way. Here is this man, richest man in the world, who has multiple companies. So he's got Tesla, the electric car maker. He's got X. He's got Neuralink. He's got SpaceX and a handful of other companies. Those companies are directly involved with the United States government. Millions and millions of dollars worth of government contracts, millions of touch points where there are rules that will affect those companies,
right,
like a $7,500 rebate for electric cars, investigations that are currently ongoing into the practices of each of those companies and, in some cases, into Mr. Musk himself. And here he is whispering into the ear of Donald Trump.
Oh, no. He's whispering into the ear of Donald Trump. Oh, my gosh. Listen, what she says isn't factually incorrect. Yeah, Musk has a lot of companies. They do a lot of business with the U.S. government. But listen, this is why he's there. This guy knows intimately the amount of waste and abuse from the U.S. federal government. It was on the campaign trail. He was talking about how they had to kidnap baby seals to test the effect of a sonic boom from a rocket on them. They had to do studies about if a rocket fell into the ocean, would it hit a shark? And then after they did the shark study, they said, okay, now do it again with whales. Yes, he has a lot of companies. And those companies do work with the government. And it brings a unique experience to the playing field. This is what Elizabeth Warren is upset about. Keep going, Mason.
So what is he whispering? Is he whispering, here are ways to help the American people? Or is he thinking through ways to make those companies richer, to back off the regulators, or to end any investigations into his work? This is conflicts of interest at a level that we have never before seen in this country. And it is critically important, first of all, that we call it out, and second, that we start to push back and say no. The American public has a right to know who's giving this kind of advice to Donald Trump. Someone who's helping the American people or just helping himself.
Oh, yeah. Is he helping the American people, or is he helping himself? What is he whispering to Donald Trump? You know, it's funny. There were stories right after the election about how individuals at NASA were so excited about Elon Musk and DOGE because they see what's happening at SpaceX and they see what's happening at NASA. And at NASA, it's like, what? Billions upon billions of dollars. I think, and excuse me if I'm incorrect, but if I recall correctly, it's about $85 billion spent at NASA on DEI initiatives. When's the last time NASA did anything of note that you said, wow, that's our NASA? It's not the guys at NASA's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the wasteful spending. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think we can learn something from these Elon Musk companies. Elizabeth Warren doesn't think so at all. She's absolutely fuming about it. And she suggests that Elon's only working with Trump richer. Listen, I don't think he needs to get any richer. Like he's the richest man in the world. Does he need more money? Honestly. Listen, Elizabeth Warren's not the only one seething. There's quite a few more people seething. Gavin Newsom, Democrat presidential hopeful for 2028, also seething about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and DOGE. Wait until you hear how he described DOGE. We'll bring that to you on the way. It's Chris Hand. I'm live in Phoenix. It's 9:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. If you got something to add, Super Text line's open, 615-737-9986. This is Super Talk.
Hey, it's Chris.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Breaking news from the House Ethics Committee. It has now voted to release that Matt Gaetz report. We've got details coming up and why money allotted by Nashville Council is not enough to get resource officers into schools. We've got those stories at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, it sounds like a spicy newscast on the way with Joan Jones. It is 9:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I am live in Phoenix, Arizona for America Fest. And I'll tell you what, an hour of a time difference it messes me up more than like 4 hours time difference. It just does. I'm actually pretty proud of myself that I've gotten the time right a couple times now. Don't expect that to continue. We're an hour behind Nashville here in Phoenix. We were talking about Liz Warren and the resistance to change. You're going to see that continue. Liz Warren is very upset that Elon Musk has President Trump's ear, and she doesn't know what he's whispering in it. It could be anything. What could it be? Oh, gosh. It could be anything. The Trump team actually did respond to Elizabeth Warren because she had sent a letter to Trump to establish the conflict of interest rules for Elon Musk because he's a top advisor. That story's from the Washington Post. But the Trump team, they responded to Elizabeth Warren, and the Trump team called her Pocahontas and said that she was a career politician whose societal impact is 1/1024th of Elon Musk's. Absolutely hilarious. One of those jokes, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Thank you, Pocahontas. She's not the only one that's just kvetching over the Trump administration coming in and DOGE taking a front seat. Also very upset about all of this is one Governor Gavin Newsom, who is the hopeful presidential candidate for 2028 for the Democrats. He actually had the audacity yesterday to label DOGE a promotional stunt. Listen to this. It's unreal.
We've been working, I don't know, before DOGE was DOGE. I don't know this is just like a promo project. We've been doing civil service reform in this state. We've been consolidating job classifications. We've been updating job descriptions in this state.
What does that mean? We've been working before DOGE was DOGE. We've been updating job descriptions in this state? It's a weird flex from a guy that has been promising to fix homelessness in California since 2008. Very weird flex from a guy who has ruined the state of California. Oh, DOGE, it's a promotional project. We've been doing the work here in California, doing the work poorly, and this is, again, why the American people chose to go a different direction. Keep going with that clip, Mason.
Those requirements. And in fact, I think it was in August, earlier August, we came up with your shop. We're going to double that next year. In fact, by 32,000, it'll be 62,000 positions. We will have eliminated those barriers and that requirement. So California's been a leader in that space. We've been working.
Yeah. California's been a leader. I mean, listen. Yeah, you've been a leader in what not to do. And it's funny how he's saying, listen, we've been doing the work. We've been saving money all over the place, except you haven't. He hasn't been a good steward of the tax dollars in California at all. In fact, Gavin Newsom actually hired a fat activist with taxpayer money to do what? I'll tell you after the news with Joan Jones on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That was a really good tease, and now I want to listen. It is 9:30, and I'm Joan Jones now with your top stories. And yeah, we do still have some of those showers moving through the area this morning. And at the moment, it looks like the worst areas with some heavier cells right around the east side of Murfreesboro. As you're making your way out on the roads, just be aware of that as you're heading out. The House Ethics Committee voting earlier this month in a secret vote to release its report into the conduct conduct of former Congressman Matt Gaetz. Now, that's according to an anonymously sourced report from CNN that's been posted to their website. That story says that the committee will make the report public before the House's final day of this Congress as lawmakers leave Washington for the holidays. CNN said it's very rare for an ethics report to be released after a member has left Congress, though it has happened on a couple of occasions in the past. In Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell's capital spending plan just approved by Metro Council without opposition. The $527 million plan includes money for school resource officers for Nashville schools. But it looks like money isn't the only thing the schools need. Here's Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac.
Mean not every school will have their own SRO. Right now, Metro Police, they have 69 officers covering 54 schools. Despite the push to keep kids safe following tragedies like the Covenant school shooting, only 3 Nashville elementary schools have full-time SROs. That's concerning for some parents, especially because schools are having to rely on officers volunteering to work overtime to protect students.
Spring Hill police are helping the family of a fellow police officer who was killed in the line of duty this week. McNairy County Sergeant Rick Finley was shot and killed as he was responding to a report of a suspicious person. He leaves behind a pregnant wife and a 2-year-old son. Spring Hill police are taking donations of baby diapers, wipes, and baby clothes at the Spring Hill City Hall from 9 to 3 Monday through Friday through January 3rd. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
We've been working, I don't know, before DOGE was DOGE. I don't know this is just like a promo project. We've been doing civil service reform in this state. We've been consolidating job classifications. We've been updating job descriptions in this state, and we waived those requirements. And in fact, I think it was in August, earlier August, we came up with your shop. We're going to double that next year. In fact, by 32,000, it'll be 62,000 positions. We will have eliminated those barriers and that requirement. So California's been a leader in that space.
Yeah, California, a leader. All right, that's quite the hot take from Governor Gavin Newsom at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Very upset about DOGE. Very, very upset. Not upset about the state of his state. No, not upset about that. He's upset about DOGE. There's two types of Democrats right now, right? You got Bernie Sanders or Ro Khanna, who they're like, well, listen, we'll work with DOGE. There's some spending that needs to be eliminated. Then you got other Democrats like Elizabeth Warren and Gavin Newsom going the exact opposite direction, trying to fight against DOGE, trying to besmirch Elon. Okay, good luck. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTM, by the way. My name's Chris Hand, broadcasting live from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to be here all weekend with Turning Point USA for America Fest. Very excited. It's going to be a wild, wild weekend. Donald J. Trump is going to be speaking. I believe this is his first rally since winning the election. It's going to be an absolute celebration, so we're looking forward to hearing from him. You can watch America Fest all weekend long online. I suggest you do. It's going to be a massive lineup of some great speakers. Gavin Newsom won't be here, I promise. I don't think he'd show up if he was invited. Not sure he was invited. But Gavin Newsom says, listen, we've been doing the work in California. Have you? Have you? Oh, yeah, we save all sorts of money. We save all sorts of money. You guys spend taxpayer dollars to give out free needles and crack pipes. You guys spend taxpayer dollars on illegal aliens. In fact, Gavin Newsom, you spent taxpayer money to hire an overweight fat activist to provide guidance for the city of San Francisco on the prevention of weight stigma. I can't make this stuff up. This is exactly the kind of wasteful spending we don't need. Listen, I don't hate fat people. I just think that you should get healthy. I'm a big fan of the Make America Healthy Again movement. Gavin Newsom, on the other hand, is okay with California tax dollars being spent on the prevention of weight stigma. This woman's name is Virgie Tover. She reported the news on Monday. She's got a big following, 82,000 followers on Instagram. And again, this comes after California's governor, Gavin Newsom, announced the state's own version of DOGE and said that the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, is a promotional project. You're paying people with taxpayer money to prevent weight stigma. You're hiring fat activists. The only time you clean up your state is when Xi Jinping comes to town. I don't think that we should be taking advice from Gavin Newsom on how to spend tax dollars. You need to listen to this, though. This fat activist wrote in a post, I'm working with a team at the San Francisco Department of Public Health as a consultant on weight stigma and weight neutrality. I'm sorry. The San Francisco Department of Public Health should not be encouraging people to be overweight. I'm not knocking you if you're overweight either. Like, listen, there's always extenuating circumstances. And to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of the obesity in this country, I firmly blame the big food industry, which we need to fix. The processed foods, the food dyes, all that junk. And we'll get to RFK and how that's going to be fixed in a little while. But you're paying taxpayers, you're using taxpayer dollars to pay fat activists to work for the San Francisco Department of Public Health to consult on weight stigma and weight neutrality. And then you're going to lecture us, conservatives, on Elon Musk. Does it hurt your head too? it hurts my head trying to really process this kind of information. The absolute gaslighting. She continued in this post about how excited she was. She said, "I'm unbelievably proud to serve the city that I've called home for almost 20 years in this way. This consultancy is an absolute dream come true, and it's my biggest hope and belief that weight neutrality will be the future of public health." What? That weight neutrality will be the future of public health? So ignoring your health will be the future of public health in California. Listen, I don't want to knock this woman too much. Virgie Tover, she's got credentials, guys. She has a master's degree in sexuality studies from San Francisco State University. Who wouldn't want to hire someone with a master's degree in sexuality studies from San Francisco State University? It's a meme degree. Can we be honest? That's a meme degree. This woman is an activist who is dedicated to fight against weight discrimination and dieting. You're fighting against dieting? You're fighting against dieting. I don't understand. I don't understand. A diet isn't a bad thing. A lot of people look at diet and they think, "Oh, we got to lose weight," but your diet is just what you eat. Like it's not going on a diet. You have to fix your diet. And in America, we absolutely do need to fix our diet. You look at the food dyes, the processed food, the seed oils. We absolutely have to fix Americans' diet. This woman is being paid tax dollars in California to fight against that. Okay. Again, she's got credentials. This woman's got credentials. She's written a couple books, and you've probably read these. I mean, these are household reads. She's written, "You have the right to remain fat." I don't. You haven't read that one yet? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. She also wrote "The Self-Love Revolution: Radical Body Positivity for Girls of Color," which is interesting. That's an interesting book. Are white girls allowed to read that book, or is it just for girls of color? I don't know. I have to check my privilege at the door. She explained her campaign against the unrealistic beauty standards in a 2017 interview that's been unearthed by The Blaze. And this is what she said. Again, this is a woman being paid tax dollars in California by the San Francisco Department of Public Health. She said, "I was born a fat person into a fat-hating culture." You weren't born a fat person. You weren't. No one is born a fat person. Also, I don't think that we have a fat-hating culture. I think currently right now we have an absolutely sick culture when it comes to our food industry. And I think that we have a large number of unhealthy Americans that we want to get healthy. It's not a fat-hating culture. I think that one of the worst things that you could do is promote this body positivity in a way that is detrimental to someone's health. Yet Gavin Newsom says Elon Musk doesn't know what he's doing and DOGE is a meme, but he's using tax dollars for this in the state of California. And he's lecturing us on this. This woman, Virgie Tover, "I was born a fat person into a fat-hating culture. I'd made myself sick trying to lose weight. Even when I was trying my hardest, I wasn't anywhere near a weight where people would say I was normal. This work felt like the only way I could survive. I wasn't going to live a life of shame anymore." Okay. And meanwhile, the Democrats are just pro-Ozempic lifestyle, right? Like they love this stuff. The liberals love this stuff. But at the same time, we have to realize that we have a fat-hating culture. Tover also posted on her Instagram that in recent years, she's gone no contact with her family. Okay. Her Instagram page is filled with content about how to throw size-inclusive holiday parties and commentaries on the politics of fatness. We don't know how much she's getting paid by the city of San Francisco and the San Francisco Public Health Department. The Post Millennial reached out to those guys for comment, and surprisingly, they didn't get back to her. Weird. You would think that they would get right back to her. Again, all of this comes, and all of this is unearthed after Gavin Newsom referred to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy's DOGE initiative as a promotional project. Can we play that clip one more time? Can we load that up one more time, Mason? Gavin Newsom referred to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy's DOGE initiative as a promotional project.
We've been working, I don't know, before DOGE was DOGE. I don't know what this is, just like a promo project. We've been doing civil service reform in this state. We've been consolidating job classifications. We've been updating job descriptions in this state, and we waived those requirements. And in fact, I think it was in August, earlier August, we came up with your shop. We're going to double that next year. In fact, by 32,000, it'll be 62,000 positions. We will have eliminated those barriers and that requirement. So California's been a leader in that space.
Yeah, California's been a leader. So inspiring. Are you inspired? I'm inspired too. And then we find out that this is where your tax dollars are going. Again, California is not a leader in this country. California is an example of an absolute failure, an abysmal failure. One of the most beautiful states in the country has been ruined by leftist Democrat policies. And Gavin Newsom gets up there and says, ooh, DOGE is a promotional stunt. We got our own DOGE. We've been doing this for a while. It was 2008 was the first time Gavin Newsom said he was going to solve homelessness in 10 years. Still waiting. Still waiting. And then you spend your tax dollars at the San Francisco Public Department of Health to fight weight stigma. Tell me again how you're a leader in spending money the right way in California. This is not just a California issue. This is an entire Democrat issue. And right now, the Democrats are being called out by Democrats on how wasteful they are with their spending, especially when it comes to the Kamala Harris campaign and her super PAC. DNC National Finance Committee member Lindy Lee has been speaking up and speaking out. Maybe she's doing it to stay relevant, but I tend to think that she's doing it because she's actually just pissed about the direction of her party. And who could blame her? I'll bring you that clip when we get back. It's 8. Oh, see, I did it. I was bragging that I was getting the time right. I'm in Phoenix. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
potential merger of Nissan and Honda as electric car makers face an end to tax incentives under President Trump. Also, the FDA issues a warning over a drug made for hot flashes. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. It is 9:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris And. I just got a text from 2529. They're watching the show live in their Tesla. You can watch the show anywhere you go. Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You can listen to us on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, all the things. Podcasts are available on Apple and Spotify. And we're broadcasting live right now from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm down here for Turning Point USA's America Fest. We're going to have a fantastic weekend. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. We've been just giggling about these Democrats. They're so upset. They're so upset that Elon Musk is going to cut some spending. They're so upset. But the Democrats have a spending problem. In fact, the Democrats are even speaking out about their spending problem. One Democrat National Committee strategist, she's a finance committee member, Lindy Lee, she's turned into one of the party's most savage critics, talking about the issue of spending. And she was on News Nation last night bringing up how Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party blew through $2.5 billion between the Harris campaign and the Harris super PAC. And I love that context because we talk about Kamala Harris raising $1.5 billion and ending up $20 million in debt, but we don't ever really bring up the super PACs. And it's a great point. You had another $1 billion in a super PAC. It wasn't just $1.5 billion to $20 million in debt. It was $2.5 billion to $20 million in debt. And Lindy Lee was on News Nation last night calling this BS out.
Having me, I was speaking with fellow donors after this meeting, and there was a briefing in addition to the party, and a lot of people left feeling frustrated because, once again, no one has taken any responsibility. It's been almost 2 months, and no one has given any sort of honest or comprehensive answers as to why they blew through essentially $2.5 billion, because $1.5 billion was raised through the campaign, then another $1 billion was raised through Future Forwards, the super PAC. And there's been no introspection, no sense of humility. A lot of the senior advisors went on Pod Save America and basically blamed everybody else under the sun except themselves.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, listen, that's the Democrats for you. And it's a harsh reality to wake up to for Lindy Lee, that the Democrats wasted your money, don't really care about you, and then don't have any humility or grace in defeat, and they do the blame game. Listen, we saw this coming. We saw this coming. You blew through $2.5 billion, and you're going to lecture us about Elon Musk and try and say that you guys know how to use taxpayer money. Okay, all right, yeah. You couldn't manage a campaign, and you wanted to manage the taxpayer money of the country. Lindy Lee had a lot more to say. We'll bring that to you on the way. Plus, we'll talk about how, there's a resistance against Trump, but Trump is also completely on the offensive right now. We got, another month until the inauguration, but Trump is essentially the acting president as we speak. And he is not sitting on his hands. Not one bit. We'll bring you the rest of Lindy Lee, plus the Trump offensive when we get back. It is 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
O'clock now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Those storms have, for the most part, the main line of the storms have, for the most part, moved out of the area. But those that are in the eye of the storm right now, Normandy, Manchester, Tullahoma, some of the more heavy rain is spread across those areas right now. We've got more in your forecast coming up in 2 minutes. A deal has been struck between the Atlanta Braves and Gray Media, so fans can catch Braves games in the upcoming season right here. 15 regular season games will be spread across the season. 10 spring training games will air as well. The games will be broadcast over the air on WSMV's Nashville Channel 4.2. An update now on a hit-and-run story we told you about earlier this week. Neighbors who live on Sunrise Avenue are now speaking out. They say even the 2 speed bumps that the city added to their street are not helping to keep traffic slow.
It's been pretty bad for a while. We've been wanting speed bumps forever. We just finally got them like 2 months ago, which people still, just go as fast as they want pretty much. There's always somebody that's going to whip past you. And a lot of my friends in the neighborhood that have kids don't really walk around here either. It's just too scary.
And in fact, an 82-year-old woman was hit and killed there on Sunday. Police say the car struck that woman from behind and left her body in the street. A new FDA warning about a medication used to treat hot flashes. The agency is putting its most prominent warning on the drug called Veozah over concerns about liver problems among some users.
Veozah is used to treat moderate to severe hot flashes. The FDA first approved it in 2023. It was a big deal because it's not a hormone therapy, making it an option for those patients who can't use hormone therapy because of their history of stroke, heart attack, blood clots, or liver disease.
That's ABC's Eva Pilgrim. Reports say that Nissan and Honda are in talks to merge the 2 rival companies, creating the world's 3rd largest auto group. It comes as Nissan reports it's going to build 100,000 fewer vehicles in 2025 than last year at its plants in Mississippi and right here in Tennessee at Smyrna and Deckard. Automakers have faced setbacks as buyers hesitate to adopt EV technology and as the incoming Trump administration plans to roll back tax incentives for EV buyers. That is the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, and the show is coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. Why am I in Phoenix, Arizona? Well, I'm here with Turning Point USA. and Turning Point Action. We got America Fest happening all weekend long. I do some work with Turning Point USA, so I'm always at these events, and this one is going to be just an absolute banger. I'm pretty darn excited. I'm not going to lie to you. Pretty darn excited. If you can hop on a plane and get to Phoenix for America Fest, I suggest you do, because it is going to be wild. Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Tom Homan, just the best speakers in the conservative movement are going to be here all weekend long. If you can't make it, you can watch all weekend to America Fest. You can watch online at turningpointusa.com, I believe, on their YouTube page. There's going to be a bunch of ways. Just Google it. You'll find it, and it's going to be worth the watch. There's a lot to cover today, though. In the meantime, everybody would tell me, because I haven't been doing talk radio very, very long. It's been, a year and change? And people tell me, oh, hey, right around Christmas, it's going to slow down. Hey, Chris, it's going to, hey, what are you going to do when the news slows down? I have yet to see the news slow down. And I don't envision it slowing down anytime soon. Maybe next Christmas it'll be slow. But right now it is not. And the Democrats are in absolute disarray. Whether they want to admit it or not, they're not in the same position that they were in 2016, where it was all viva la resistance. And the Democrats were in lockstep fighting against the orange man. We're not witnessing the same thing at all. In fact, we're witnessing a splintering of the Democrat Party. You do have folks that are doubling down. You got your Liz Warrens, you got your Gavin Newsoms, you got your Democrat online influencers like the Harry Sissons of the world who double down. And they lean in and they really try to portray this resistance and this strength. But you got other Democrats that are out there saying, what the hell happened? What the hell happened? And one of those Democrats is Lindy Lee. We played this clip a little while ago. We're going to play it again. Lindy Lee is a DNC National Finance Committee member. And Lindy Lee really believes in the Democrat Party. Lindy Lee believes in Democrat values. And I think it's good to have that in the back of your mind when you listen to her absolutely obliterate the Harris campaign and the Democrat Party in this clip. She was on News Nation, and she calls out the Harris campaign saying, how on earth did you blow through $2.5 billion in 3 months and wind up $20 million in debt? It doesn't make sense. Play the clip, Mason.
I was speaking with fellow donors after this meeting, and there was a briefing in addition to the party, and a lot of people left feeling frustrated because, once again, no one has taken any responsibility. It's been almost 2 months, and no one has given any sort of honest or comprehensive answers as to why they blew through essentially $2.5 billion, because $1.5 billion was raised through the campaign, and another billion was raised through Future Forwards, the super PAC. And there's been no introspection, no sense of humility. A lot of the senior advisors went on Pod Save America and basically blamed everybody else under the sun except themselves.
Oh, we there?
So at this point, do you expect there will be accountability or an explanation for the funds, or does it appear they're moving on?
I think a very interesting tidbit is that of the $500 million in advertising fees, it just went to 4 well-connected Democratic firms, including Bully Pulpit. So this is the consultant class in Washington, D.C. They move from one campaign to the next, and they don't learn any lessons. They're not very self-reflective because there's so much in the game. And
yeah,
just
exactly.
To give
Listen, there's no reflection. There's no humility. There's so much in the game, and she's not talking about, self-respect or dignity. She's talking about money. These people care about money. They ran a campaign to make money. And there's going to be a lot of questions for Kamala Harris and the campaign. Were you laundering that money? There was the Call Her Daddy podcast, and it was revealed by the podcast host that they rebuilt a set in D.C. to mimic the set. They said it cost $100,000, and the host walked in there and said, listen, there's no way this should have cost $100,000. I wonder how many examples of that you'll find if you dig in. I wonder who got those contracts to build those sets. And that's just one small example. That's $100,000 on a podcast set. But we had $2.5 billion that was wasted. And this campaign ended up $20 million in debt. There's a lot of questions. A lot. And Lindy Lee may be one of the only Democrats out there who's standing on the soapbox saying, what happened to this money? Keep the clip going, Mason.
And just to give people a sense, we were advertising hardcore in Florida, ruby red Florida now. And why were we doing that? It was because of the money, because of the advertising fees. Regardless of the fact that Kamala Harris's chances of winning Florida are quite low, there was still money to be made. So that was the type of mentality governing the political consultant class.
Will Democrats face challenges, Lindy, raising money next time around if it is not more transparent given the losses of this cycle?
Oh, for sure. And there are backroom conversations happening right now. Some people are fundraising for Republicans now. They're open to a different team who would appreciate and handle their finances better. So the question is this: how can we ever trust you to handle the taxpayer money correctly if you can't even run your own campaign, if you can't even handle donor money?
I love that. If you can't handle donor money, how can we trust you to handle taxpayer money? And she says, listen, you're spending money on advertisements in Florida. Why? Well, because there's money to be made. See, this is what these people care about. She also dropped an interesting tidbit there. I don't know if you caught it, where she said a lot of these people are actually open to working for Republicans now. That's interesting. I don't think that they immediately change their opinions overnight, but it just goes to the fact that these people care about money. And where can you make money right now? If you're fundraising, it's probably a bit more on the Republican side than it is on the Democrat side. I wouldn't accept those people into our tent at all. Like, we need to get those leeches who just care about dollars out. That, personally, just me. No bloodsuckers, thank you. You can stay on that side and continue to raise money for that side. But Lindy Lee, turning into an absolute savage. An absolute savage. And the Harris campaign, no humility, no self-awareness, no real transparency at all. They haven't even apologized for wasting all of those donations, and they should. They owe all of those Democrat voters an apology. They sold them a bill of goods, and they used the press to sell that bill of goods. If you remember, right before the presidential election, that poll came out from the Des Moines Register, and a lot of people said, that's a weird poll. It shows Kamala's winning Iowa by 4. That's strange. That's a little weird. And then Trump won by 12. It was a 16-point swing. It was wild. Well, Trump had said that he was going to sue the Des Moines Register for that poll, and now that lawsuit is absolutely official, and I'm here for it. Hold these people accountable. Trump is suing the Des Moines Register pollster and Seltzer for brazen election interference over faulty polling in the presidential race. This is a great story, and I hope that the press takes note. This comes off the heels of the George Stephanopoulos ABC settlement for $15 million. The press has to start telling the truth. That's what it boils down to. And if you're lying, you're going to be held accountable. And Donald Trump has filed that lawsuit against the Des Moines Register and pollster and Seltzer for brazen election interference over their final poll that showed Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris ahead in Iowa. Trump ended up winning the state by more than 13 points. Excuse me, I think I said 12. The poll was picked up nationally and used as an argument that Trump was behind Harris in the race. For the entire lead up that week heading into the presidential election, all we heard about was that Des Moines Register poll. And everybody's, she's a very credible pollster. And I looked at that poll and I said, it seems like she probably got a payday on her way out. And then she did. She retired. She's walking away, this credible pollster. And Trump said, I'm not going to let that slide. And a lawsuit was filed in Polk County, Iowa on Monday night under the Iowa Consumer Fraud Act and related provisions of the act, Fox News has reported. The suit seeks accountability for brazen election interference committed by the Register and Seltzer in favor of now defeated former Democrat candidate Kamala Harris through the use of a leaked and manipulated Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll conducted by Seltzer and SNC and published by Des Moines Register and Gannett in the Des Moines Register on November 2nd, 2024. Also included in the lawsuit is Gannett. That's the parent company of the Des Moines Register. Gannett owns a bunch of stuff, including USA Today. The lawsuit states that contrary to reality and defying credulity, defendants' Harris poll was published 3 days before Election Day and purported to show Harris leading President Trump in Iowa by 3 points. President Trump ultimately won Iowa by over 13 points. The poll was released by Seltzer on November 2nd, just 3 days before the election. And again, they ran that poll on every major news network over and over and over again. And they tried to use it to establish the narrative that Trump was floundering. Kamala Harris was surging. And we heard that so often for so many. Remember Nikki Haley was surging. Kamala Harris was surging. It became a huge joke, like everything else. Trump's attorneys say enough is enough. And they wrote that her prediction of Harris in the lead in deep red Iowa was not reality. It was election interfering fiction. It was fiction. And that the Harris poll was no miss, but rather an attempt to influence the outcome of the 2024 presidential election. This is what they're going to have to prove, right? Were they wrong, or were they deceptive on purpose? And I think that the argument can be made that they were being deceptive on purpose. Trump's attorneys say that this was complete fiction, and the suit noted that Seltzer, who has been in the industry for over 35 years, retired in disgrace from polling less than 2 weeks after this embarrassing rout, which she certainly did. She walked away. And Scott Jennings on CNN last night, man, Scott Jennings, he's the best thing on CNN, like 100%. He said, listen, they used that poll, and it was a rigged poll. And it caused the entire panel on CNN, on the Abby Phillips show, to melt down. And one of the panelists was former Trump attorney Michael Cohen. Yeah, everybody's favorite, Michael Cohen. But this panel absolutely melts down when Scott Jennings says that people like Ann Seltzer are putting out rigged polls. Play the clip, Mason.
But do you think it should be easier? You believe it
No, I
should be
think that
easier
media
to
has
sue
to do
media
their
companies?
job. They have to actually, they need to get the facts
But wait a
right.
second.
Because
Wait.
we were right.
Because you
And
said
that
Scott's
poll was wrong.
It was wrong, but guess what else was wrong? All the polls of 2022. And none of those pollsters are
all wrong. They
and
weren't.
you were wrong in 2022, Scott, because you
No.
said there was going to be a red wave.
I never said that. I never said
Twitter,
that.
do your
I
thing,
never said
run the
that.
clips,
Never
because
said that.
people said that there was going to be a red wave, and there wasn't. And so when you make predictions, which is what we get paid to do, is to read the tea leaves and determine, it is not something that should rise to the occasion of litigation.
You know what, Scott, how many campaigns have you done? I've done 100 million, and probably you have too, right? Every time you get a bad poll, are you supposed to sue the pollster now?
It's not about the poll. It's not about the poll. But look what happened. It came out from a person who has a lot of credibility. Virtually every single panel I was on for the last week of the campaign led with, well, look at this poll out of Iowa. It's the,
right,
and
listen.
so it wasn't the poll. It's the second, third, and fourth order narrative.
Listen. The number. I'm sorry.
And it's just
So what? So what?
It's free speech.
What about
Okay.
Scott? I mean, what about free speech? I mean, I thought that this was the Republican Party of say what you want. Let's debate it in the public square. Like, let's have the conversation.
Yeah,
Now
I love that now they care about free speech. What about free speech, Scott? Scott, you were wrong on the red wave in November of 2022. Okay, listen, the difference between the red wave and what happened in the last presidential election is with the red wave, we could actually point to stuff and say, listen, our ground game wasn't there. We took it for granted. We fell asleep at the wheel. The Roe v. Wade stuff was actually a lot more motivating to the Democrats than we gave it credit for. You can actually point to physical things with 2022 and the red wave that didn't materialize and say, this is why. You can't with that Ann Seltzer poll. It was such an outlier, and it was so close to the election. And I love that the leftists on CNN now care about free speech. What about free speech? And Scott Jennings says, listen, it's not about that. It's about the narrative that was used via that poll. Keep the clip going, Mason.
I mean, I thought that this was the Republican Party of say what you want. Let's debate it in the public square. Like, let's have the conversation. Now let's only have the conversation if you're 100%, prescient and correct in that moment. It was a bad poll. It was a wrong poll. The media discussed it. So what?
Do you know what I'm so tired of, Scott? The number one cable news network, Fox News. The number one paper by circulation, the Wall Street Journal. Number 3 paper by circulation, the New York Post. Number 1 person on the radio, Sean Hannity. The number 1 person on the podcast, Joe Rogan. All of these people are Trump supporters. What media are you talking about that's anti-Trump?
You're not familiar with the anti-Trump media?
You're not familiar with the fact that you guys control for everything
of
from
all the
podcasts?
things I've heard you say out here, that might be the nuttiest.
Scott,
I mean, believe me, there's plenty of anti-Trump media.
Scott, I'm trying to pay conservatives. What I'm basically trying to say is that you guys have taken over the airwaves. You guys have taken over the radio airwaves. You guys have taken over podcasts. You guys have taken over pretty much, and now you're sitting here complaining because all you guys do is whine and complain. Your entire raison d'etre is have grievances. You don't actually think about leading. You just think about having grievances against the media.
I love it. I love it. Oh, your only thing is grievances against the media. No. Again, we have actual factual evidence that can back up our claims, right? Like you can look at all the positive reporting for Kamala Harris versus negative reporting for Trump in the lead up to the election and say, yes, the mainstream media was fully behind Kamala Harris. These people, but you got podcasts and you got this and you got that. And it's like, now you're mad that we figured out a way to circumvent the mainstream media in 2024. And thank God for Elon Musk, because without Twitter, I don't know if we would have been able to. Thank God for Joe Rogan platforming him. Kamala Harris had the same opportunity to get on these podcasts. She could have been on Joe Rogan. She turned him down. And you know what? A lot of podcasts turned Kamala down when she requested to get involved. It's wild. All these grievances. It's like, yeah, but we have a point with our grievances. So you guys kick and scream and just say orange man bad. They say you don't have a plan, you're just running on grievances. It's like, no, we do have a plan. We have a massive plan. Secure the border, bring the economy back, world peace. It's pretty clear to see the plan. We got a lot more on the way, including a House report which recommends investigations into Liz Cheney over January 6th witness tampering. What? What is this? Is this what the preemptive pardon was for? We'll talk about it when we get back. It's 10:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Up ahead, we may soon learn what the House Ethics Committee investigation of Matt Gaetz turned up. Also, a Nashville man under arrest for the statutory rape of a teenage girl. Those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. It is 10:28 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. It's also brought to you by my wife, Virginia, because I'm live in Phoenix, Arizona, and she is back in Middle Tennessee with 4 kids on her own. So thank you, Virginia. We appreciate it. I got to get her something nice for Christmas.
Diamonds are nice.
I was thinking something from the Glock store.
She probably like that, too.
I was thinking like a bedazzled Glock.
Oh, I love that.
They do custom Glocks. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they'll bedazzle them, but I know a guy at the Glock store, and I know who to ask.
Oh, that's a pretty cool idea.
All right?
Chris, I think the goal for Christmas is to get something for your wife, not for you.
Yeah, I know,
This is
right?
much you love bedazzling. But
This is true. But listen, if I had to stop a home invasion and I did it with a bedazzled Glock, could you imagine? Could you imagine the news story afterwards?
is it more or less intimidating? I don't know.
Yeah, listen. I don't know what.
You could always bedazzle the holster. That would be cool.
There you
Right?
go. Listen, and I bet you the Glock store has all that. And they have gift cards available if you need a gift for somebody in your family. Training session. All jokes aside, training sessions are going to be our New Year's resolution. I'm taking Virginia to the Shoot 270 indoor training rooms without a doubt, and getting her up to speed on self-defense in that area. You should too. It's definitely something that would be good for your wife or anybody in your life. In all honesty, on the way. Liz Cheney, is she going to be investigated over January 6th witness tampering? I think that there's a lot that should be investigated when it comes to Liz Cheney. And maybe this is why Joe Biden and the Democrat establishment are looking at preemptive pardons for Liz Cheney. You know, she did the job for the deep state, and now they're going to cover her on the back end, which is why they're thinking about preemptive pardons. But the House report recommends an FBI investigation. And listen, once Kash Patel gets in there, it's not your mom's FBI anymore, right? This is not dad's FBI. It's going to be a completely new FBI, one that actually will investigate these people. We'll talk about that House report recommendation when we get back. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 10:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at the radar, and it looks like the areas in Morrison, Viola, New Union, even Sparta now have some of the heaviest cells of the first part of the storm moving over them now, and we should have rain continuing for the next couple of hours. The full forecast is still to come here in just a couple of moments. Reports today say that the House Ethics Committee is going to release that report on the conduct of former Congressman Matt Gaetz before the end of this Congress. Now, that story was posted by CNN, citing anonymous sources. Reporter Elena Treen says the timing of this is pretty interesting.
You know that when the committee first voted last month not to release this report, Matt Gaetz was still Donald Trump's pick to be his attorney general. Since then, he has withdrawn his name from consideration. He has also made clear that he has no plans to return to Congress next year, and has also said that he is planning to join One America News Network to be an anchor for them in January.
Now, Gaetz has denied all the allegations against him, and he characterizes this investigation as a witch hunt. We're just learning this morning that the Supreme Court has agreed to decide whether a controversial ban on the social media app TikTok violates the First Amendment. That's adding a major case to its docket this term, just before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. A 25-year-old Nashville man under arrest at Davidson County Jail right now for allegedly raping a 13-year-old girl. Metro Nashville police say that the girl told investigators she and Augustine Adai had sex numerous times, and that Adai had taken video of them. A search of that victim's phone turned up video. Adai is in jail on $10,000 bond. That's the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
It is 9:36. Oh, my gosh, I did it again. See, this is what happens when I'm live in Phoenix. I'm an hour behind you guys. It's 10:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The
Some might
show
think that you're
is
doing this
brought to you.
intentionally now.
I know. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Jeez, I'm really not. The 1 hour time difference messes me up more than like a 10-hour time difference. I swear.
Yeah, anytime I'm down in Georgia, I do the same thing all the time.
It's so weird. I don't like it. We also live in the best time zone. Let's be perfectly honest. Central time zone. There's no comparison. It's the best time zone. Just for the record, let the record state. Central time zone is the best time zone. But it is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Why is Chris Hand in Phoenix, you may be asking? Well, I'm down here with Turning Point USA. America Fest is happening this weekend, and it is going to be the biggest celebration of all time because, well, we won. And Donald Trump is going to be speaking. Tucker Carlson's going to be speaking. We got a host of others, including Tom Homan. I'm really looking forward to Tom Homan. That guy is a beast. We'll talk about the border in a little bit. Right now, though, the Democrats, and I say that including Liz Cheney in that grouping, the Democrats are just in a panic, in an absolute panic, because Trump and his team have gone on the offensive, and Trump is putting people in positions that are terrifying the deep state. And I think Liz Cheney is absolutely an example of the deep state. Kash Patel is coming into the FBI. He's going to be the FBI director. I don't think there's any way you can get around that. He's going to be the FBI director. And you know what? When he's the FBI director, he's going to be in charge of some investigations. And there's a House report recommending an investigation into one Liz Cheney. They want the FBI to ask some questions about this alleged witness tampering while on the J6 committee. Now, you might be saying this is a conspiracy theory, but up until just a few days ago, so were feds in the crowd at J6, right? Conspiracy theories and the truth. It's about 6 months apart. And there was a new report released yesterday from Representative Barry Loudermilk and the House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight that states former Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney should be investigated for possible criminal activity stemming from her work on the House Select Committee on J6. She's accused of colluding with witnesses Cassidy Hutchinson, who testified before the committee and was an aide to Mark Meadows' chief of staff. That's interesting. She was colluding with witnesses? You mean that the J6 committee was a farce? What? I'm shocked. I'm stunned. I'm beside myself. I thought it was bipartisan. Wasn't that what they told us? That this is a bipartisan committee and it's going to get to the truth? Yeah, weird. Listen to what the report says. It says, based on the evidence obtained by the subcommittee, numerous federal laws were likely broken by Liz Cheney. Oh my gosh, numerous. Not just one? Weird. Could this be where the preemptive pardon discussion for Liz Cheney is coming from? I think so. Democrats, they want to protect their own. Deep staters want to protect their own. They say that Liz Cheney likely broke numerous federal laws. Now, let's remind everybody, if you're keeping score at home, you probably know this, but she was the vice chair of the January 6th Select Committee. And the report says these violations should be investigated by the FBI. But it's not your mom's FBI anymore. So this isn't your dad's FBI. When Kash Patel gets in there, we're going to have a real FBI where the rank and file guys who in the FBI who are great are going to be empowered, and the ones that are awful are going to be pushed aside. The FBI is changing with Kash Patel coming in, and I'm very, very excited about that because we could actually maybe believe in some of these investigations, right? It's not going to be we looked into it and we didn't find anything. And this report says you got to look into Liz Cheney. Numerous federal laws were likely broken by Liz Cheney, and the FBI should investigate the evidence uncovered by this subcommittee. And it revealed that former Congresswoman Liz Cheney tampered with at least one witness, at least one, Cassidy Hutchinson. They say that Liz Cheney was secretly communicating with Cassidy Hutchinson without Hutchinson's attorney's knowledge. Now, this secret communication with a witness is improper and likely violates 18 U.S.C. 1512. Such action is outside the due functioning of the legislative process and therefore not protected by the Speech and Debate Clause. The Federal Bureau of Investigation must also investigate Representative Cheney for violating 18 U.S.C. 1622, which prohibits any person from procuring another person to commit perjury. Based on the evidence obtained by the subcommittee, Hutchinson committed perjury when she lied under oath to the Select Committee. Additionally, Hutchinson was interviewed by the FBI as part of its investigation into President Trump. The subcommittee sought a copy of the FBI Report 302 documenting this interview and Hutchinson's statement, but the FBI refused to produce this vital document. Weird. Again, this is going to change when Kash Patel is the director of the FBI. Make no mistake about it. They say the FBI should immediately review the testimony given by Hutchinson in this interview to determine if she also lied in her FBI interview. And if so, the role former Representative Cheney played in instigating Hutchinson to radically change her testimony. Sounds like there's some big problems ahead for Liz Cheney. Big problems. Again, this is why there's discussions of a preemptive pardon. Now let's talk about Hutchinson. Cassidy Hutchinson was a witness before the J6 committee. She claimed that then President Trump was leaving the Stop the Steal rally at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. Following his speech. He attempted to grab the steering wheel of the car that was driving him back to the White House. You've heard this before. He grabbed the wheel of the beast. He overpowered Secret Service. This testimony has been debunked. It was debunked in March of 2024 by the Secret Service agent who was driving the car. The car that Cassidy Hutchinson was not actually in. Weird. Oh, so the Secret Service agent that was driving the car said it didn't happen. Weird. Yeah. Cassidy Hutchinson wasn't in the car. She gave the testimony. The agent said, I did not see him reach. He never grabbed the steering wheel. I didn't see him, lunge to try and get into the front seat at all. You know what stood out was the irritation in his voice more than his physical presence. That agent said that Trump was pushing pretty hard to go to the Capitol, but did not corroborate Hutchinson's claim that he lunged for the wheel. The entire J6 committee was set up to make Donald Trump look like the worst human ever. And it backfired. The American people saw right through it. Deal with it. You pushed fake hoaxes over and over and over again. You lied to the American public over and over and over again. And all of these lies have been exposed over time. The January 6th stuff was supposed to end President Trump. And the American people said, no. we're still going with this guy. I love it. Donald Trump was speaking as people were breaching the Capitol. He had nothing to do with it. He said march peacefully and patriotically. There were feds in the crowd. Up until recently, they told us there weren't. All of these lies are going to be exposed. And I think after Donald Trump takes office and the people that need to get in these positions get in them, we're going to learn a lot more. And I think it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing. I hope it's absolutely mind-blowing. I'm here for it to be absolutely mind-blowing. We need truth. We don't need any more lies. We need transparency. And this is one of those scenarios. And you know what? If Liz Cheney was secretly working behind the scenes with Cassidy Hutchinson to come up with these hoaxes, Liz Cheney should face federal charges. Liz Cheney should be shaking in her boots, this deep stater, this secret Democrat. She should be shook. In a House report from October, it was revealed that in the months prior to Hutchinson's explosive private and public testimony, Cheney communicated with Hutchinson both directly and through an intermediary, Alyssa Farah Griffin, while Hutchinson was represented by her attorney, Stefan Passantino. The Select Committee conducted 6 transcribed interviews of Hutchinson in total, and her lawyer represented her for the first 3 interviews. A text message from the report shows that Hutchinson's friend Alyssa Farah Griffin reached out to Liz and that she agreed to keep our convo totally confidential. Cheney, through Farah Griffin, told Hutchinson that she admired her and could tell that she wanted to do the right thing. And the right thing at that time for these deep staters was stop Donald Trump by any means necessary. Orange man bad. Cheney, again, was one of the 2 Republicans appointed by then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to serve on the committee. She was the vice chair. She deserves to be held responsible for what happened. Let's look into Adam Kinzinger, too. Let's look into everything. I don't want any stone left unturned when Donald Trump gets back into office. And Lord willing, we're going to see it happen come January 20th. It can't get here soon enough. It can't get here soon enough. Meanwhile, where the hell has Joe Biden been? I mean, listen, we understand Trump's team is on the offensive. We understand there's a resistance. But Joe Biden, he's been missing in action. He's been missing in action. And there's all these things coming out, these commutations, these pardons, which are ridiculous. They're trying to sell border wall material. But James O'Keefe put out an explosive expose. And once again, he gets a high-ranking National Security Council advisor on hidden camera. And this guy admitted what we all essentially knew, that Joe Biden isn't really there at all. This guy, National Security Advisor Henry Apple, caught under hidden camera by James O'Keefe, and he was talking about Joe Biden, and he said, and I quote, "Joe Biden is like dead, not literally, like he can't say a sentence." Yeah. So when you're seeing all this stuff happening behind the scenes, like we're auctioning off border wall material and all this, understand this is the deep state lashing out, trying to Trump-proof the White House. Yeah, Trump-proof America. Good luck. Good luck. And while Biden's missing, inflation is still exploding. We still have real problems in this country, from the wide open southern border to inflation. And food prices are still going up. They rose by 3.1% this last month. Highest monthly increase in about 2 years. It's getting bad. It's getting worse. You got the Chipotle CEO saying he's going to modernize his kitchen with robots. Like, that's how bad it is. We got to get the humans out of here. We're going to need to bring robots in because we don't need to pay them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Meanwhile, government funding is running out, and we could have a shutdown on Friday. I hope we shut it down. If I'm a Republican, why are we pushing through another continued resolution? Why? Why are we going to do another CR? Why are we going to do another bloated omnibus spending bill to kick the can down the road another few months? If I'm the Republicans, I say let's let it all shut down. Let's let it all shut down, and we can pick this conversation up on January 20th. Government funding expires Friday at midnight. There are congressional leaders trying to finalize an expanding compromise to punt that deadline and staple on hundreds of billions of dollars in unrelated spending. This report from Breitbart. Speaker Mike Johnson is going to be under fire for this. He pitched his yet-to-be-finalized deal inside a closed House Republican conference meeting yesterday morning, and Republicans from different ideological corners of the conference left angry, condemning the process, the timeline, the contents, and more. And it's not just Republicans that are mad at this CR and this bloated spending bill. Democrats are mad at it too. You got Fox News writing articles about how bad it is. You got Breitbart writing news articles about how bad it is. And you have Politico writing articles about how bad it is. I mean, listen, if Breitbart and Politico are both saying this is a terrible move, it very well could be a terrible move. Although sometimes I do find if Republicans and Democrats agree, you should run away. In this case, I think they're actually both onto something. And if it was my choice, I'd say let it shut down, and we can pick this thing back up on the 20th. You know, let's limit the Biden administration from doing any more damage. We'll talk about that continuing resolution, the reaction that we're getting from GOP leaders, and more on the way. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
The U.S. Supreme Court says it will hear TikTok's case coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ken Weaver back in the newsroom.
Brother Chris Hand. How you doing out there in Arizona?
I'm good. It's a little bit more dry than it is in Middle Tennessee, I'll tell you that much.
By a long shot, brother.
Yeah. Woo. My gosh. This is one of those days where you probably had a bit of a struggle getting into work.
Oh, it was lovely, Chris. You know how I like I-24.
It's a dream of highways.
It is. I especially love it with truck spray.
Yes, it makes it more exciting. It's 10:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand here. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Let me just say how Breitbart puts it. House preps crap sandwich funding bill as government shutdown looms. Yeah. I mean, it feels that way. And then, all right. So let's go to the complete opposite side of the spectrum, right? Breitbart. I mean, I love Breitbart, but you could classify them as hard right, and you could make that argument. But Politico, you could definitely classify as hard left. Politico calls it this. Lawmakers unveil Christmas tree funding bill with billions of dollars. A disaster. Yeah. Everybody understands that this thing is a disaster impending. No matter if you're a GOP member or if you're the number 2 Senate Democrat leader, Dick Durbin, nobody knows what's in this bill, and everybody is kind of shocked by how quickly this is coming and the timing of everything. This is Dick Durbin. Again, he has no clue what's in the bill, but he does perk up a little bit when he finds out that in the bill, he's actually going to get a pay raise.
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news.
Right.
What has it been, 10 years or 14 years and no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourself a raise.
Yeah, of course he supports getting a pay raise. He's the number 2 Democrat in the Senate. He just wants to say, listen, with the inflation, we all need a pay raise, right? See, he wouldn't go that far, but nobody has a problem voting a pay raise for themselves. And maybe they put the pay raise in there to try to grease the wheels on this funding bill, this crap sandwich that's looming, as Breitbart puts it. Andy Biggs was talking about the impending CR, and he posted this on Twitter. He said, we're expecting a vote on the 1,500-plus page short-term omnibus on Wednesday. We don't have the text of the bill. The D.C. cartel loves to operate in the shadows. The swamp is deep, and it must be drained. And I agree with Biggs. Listen, let the government shut down. Nobody cares. Nobody will miss you guys. Honestly, let it shut down. Don't push through a 1,500-page bill for short-term funding with billions of dollars, this crap sandwich, as Breitbart puts it. Don't push it through. Why? Let the government shut down. Pick it back up on January 20th. Take an extended break, please. By all means, take an extended break. Nobody is going to miss you guys. I swear. Nobody's going to miss you. So take an extended break until Donald Trump gets in there, please. Please. There's a lot of others reacting, too. People are rightfully upset about this. Listen, when we got rid of Kevin McCarthy, one of the things that we were going to do was single-subject spending bills, no more omnibuses, yet here we are. Rep. Eli Crane said, attention members of Congress, if you're supporting the creation of DOGE, but you constantly support CRs and debt ceiling increases, you might want to take a hard look in the mirror. The American people aren't stupid. Absolutely. Rep. Eric Burleson said 1,500 pages, Friday deadline, still no text for the CR. This town is beyond broke, and I feel like that's an understatement. A bit of an understatement. Matt Rosendale, there's nothing more reliable than Washington's annual tradition of passing a pork-filled omnibus before Christmas. Congress had 8 months to utilize the APROPS process to fund government responsibly, yet here we are, 4 days before funding lapses, and we don't know what's going on. Weird, right? Here we are. I feel like we've seen this movie before. Listen, don't get upset. I'll tell you what, we do have some good news, okay? We're winning the culture war. We are. We're winning the culture war. This spending stuff is annoying, but we are still winning. And I'll bring you the latest wins from the culture war after Ken Weaver's newscast, which happens right now. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Looks like the heaviest of the rain is now well out of the Nashville area, but rain continues to fall and will so for a few more hours anyway. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. U.S. Supreme Court says it's going to hear TikTok's case against the law requiring that the app be sold by January 19th. This law says if the extremely popular app isn't sold by then, it would be banned in the U.S. Oral argument has been set for Friday, January 10th. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
The High Court says it will hear TikTok's case 9 days before the congressionally imposed ban is set to take effect. A brief order from the court says the justices have for now deferred their decision on whether to extend or block that deadline. TikTok has argued that requiring a sale of the app by Chinese-owned ByteDance violates the First Amendment. President-elect Trump has said he has a soft spot in his heart for the app, but the Biden administration and congressional leaders of both parties say it could serve as a dangerous propaganda and spy tool for Beijing.
So there are reports about a major reversal from the House Ethics Committee. Jay O'Brien in Washington on lawmakers voting to release that report on former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz.
Multiple sources tell ABC News, including our Rachel Scott, our chief congressional correspondent, that the House Ethics Committee has voted to release this long report on Matt Gaetz, the product of a months-long investigation. And it was an open question up until this point if this report was ever really going to see the light of day. It was a flashpoint during Matt Gaetz's brief confirmation period where he was Donald Trump's pick to be the next attorney general.
Gaetz resigned to pursue a post as attorney general in the next Trump administration, but he later withdrew his nomination over those allegations. Here in Tennessee, 10 people facing felony charges in a child exploitation and sextortion case. TBI conducted what it called Operation Autumn Shield, which identified 19 victims. In one case, a father who used AI technology to make an image of his minor daughter into a nude photograph and shared it online. Most of these victims, according to the TBI, were on social media platforms like Instagram and Snapchat. A Pentagon report released today says the People's Republic of China has nearly tripled its nuclear warhead arsenal since 2020.
4 years ago, the U.S. Defense Department estimated China's stockpile was in the low 200s. But as of mid-2024, that number has shot up to more than 600. A senior defense official said China is on track to exceed 1,000 nuclear warheads by 2030. The Chinese military is also diversifying the types of nuclear weapons it's building, from small precision strike weapons to intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach the United States. Matt Seiler, ABC News, the Pentagon.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand broadcasting live from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm down here with Turning Point USA. America Fest is happening this weekend. It's going to be absolutely bananas. If you want to jump on a flight and come to Phoenix, I hope you do. You can say hi. I'll welcome you in. Or you can watch all weekend long. They'll be doing the entire conference online all weekend long. Just Google America Fest, Google Turning Point USA. You'll find it. You'll find it. Our show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. We love our sponsors. They make this kind of stuff possible, and we salute them. Thank you to Better Water LLC. You can listen to us wherever you go. iHeartRadio, tune in. You can watch us on Super Talk TV, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Podcasts are always available on Apple and Spotify. And, guys, we are absolutely winning the culture war. Listen, you're going to see examples of that all weekend long if you tune into America Fest. And every time I come to one of these events, I'm reminded that we're winning the culture war when you see such a diverse audience of people, diverse in age, diverse in race, men and women from all backgrounds, and it's huge. And really what it comes down to is we just want to get back to, American values, insanity, and the society that we had when we were growing up. You know what I mean? Just a normal, sane society. And it does seem like we're getting back there, doesn't it? It does seem like we keep putting points on the board in the culture war. And you have to win the culture war. You have to. And we got a big win just yesterday. There's an upcoming Disney Pixar children's series called Win or Lose. It's a Disney Plus thing. I don't do Disney. Disney got too woke, and I left, and I'm never going back. And I just won't. I just won't. Won't go to Disney World. Won't do those things. I'm not. They lost me forever. But Disney's decided to remove a transgender storyline from this upcoming Pixar children's series, Win or Lose. And this is a win. Disney's not going to win me back, but it's a win. And it really points out that Disney is understanding that they went too far with the woke ideology. Way too far. The Walt Disney Company has reportedly removed a transgender storyline from its upcoming Pixar series, Win or Lose. This is an animated kids show. Yes, and it's an animated kids show, and they wanted to have a transgender storyline. The show follows the adventures of a co-ed middle school softball team. Oh, man, it would have been a perfect fit for a transgender kid storyline. Win or Lose, which is going to start streaming on Disney Plus in February, was originally set to feature a transgender character, but that's no longer the case, reports Breitbart.com. Disney stepped in and ordered the removal of references to one of the characters' gender identity. According to a report from The Hollywood Reporter, these changes impacted some of the show's later episodes, though it remains unclear who the trans character was and how big the part was. And I want to point out the verbiage there. These changes impacted some of the show's later episodes. See, this is how they always do it. They lull parents into a false sense of security through the first few episodes, and you think it's a great show, it's safe. And then when mom and dad walk away, because you got to cook dinner, we got to pack lunches, we're getting stuff ready for the holiday parties for the kids. We're putting together the goodie bags for the Christmas gifts for all the classmates, and you put on a show. You walk away, they sneak it in. They sneak it in the later episodes. And this has happened so many times, man. Rocco's Modern Life, which is a show I grew up with. It got put on, I think it was Netflix. It got put on Netflix, and it's the classic episodes, and they're streaming, and it's on there for a couple months, and then boom, there's a new season added, decades after the show had aired. And this new season all of a sudden includes a transgender character. Again, they do this intentionally. They lull parents into a false sense of security, grandparents into a false sense of security, and then when you leave the room, they sneak in the ideology. Well, Disney has apparently been reading tea leaves and realizes that the American public doesn't want this crap in kids' shows. It shouldn't be a hard pill to swallow, but for some it is. An unnamed source close to the Win or Lose show told the outlet The Hollywood Reporter that the studio made the decision to alter course several months ago. And it says, I quote, "When it comes to animated content for a younger audience, We recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline, a spokesperson for Disney said. Wow! It is amazing that after years of parents screaming, "Stop the woke ideology," Disney's finally starting to get it. Finally. Now can we remove the men in dresses from the bibbidi-bobbidi dress boutique at your theme parks? Can we do that next? Honestly, Disney is so woke. I don't think that we should accept this as a total victory, but it's a small victory. It's a small victory. The statement marks an about-face turn for Disney, which has recently pushed transgenderism and other forms of gender nonconformity in its entertainment aimed at kids. Yeah, constantly. 2022, there was a Disney Plus series called Baymax, and it featured a transgender man who menstruates and gives advice on which maxi pad to buy. That's Disney Plus. Disney Marvel superhero series, Loki. They revealed that its title character is gender fluid. The Lucasfilms, which is now, it's all Disney, recently cast transgender actors in The Acolyte and the Willow series, both of which, surprisingly enough, were canceled after one season. This is all because of the public response to Disney's embrace of transgenderism for kids. And listen, moms and dads, grandparents, we got to be loud about this stuff. We got to cancel these memberships when we get wind of this stuff. We can't keep giving money to people that hate us and want to brainwash our kids. We can't. I'm not going back to Disney because they made this change, but I am optimistic that when a company like Disney is making these changes, the reality of this being unprofitable has set in. And if it's setting in for Disney, it's setting in for others too. Last month, Disney reportedly decided to shelve an episode of a Disney cartoon series, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, apparently over its plot concerning a transgender high school athlete. Good. We're winning the culture war. We have to win the culture war. We have to, or we're going to be raising a generation that has just been spoon-fed woke ideology. And with young kids, it's not even so much what's like overt and in their face. It's what is subliminally being put in as well. You have to be aware. You have to be looking out for this. And, you know, we need to keep fighting. We need to keep pushing back. In Hollywood, the Rainbow Mafia are panicking over a second Trump administration. Hollywood LGBTQ stars and other elites are reportedly in a state of panic over the incoming second Trump administration, with some having fled the country already or considering to do so in the near future. Why? I don't know why these people are scared. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. Like this is the insanity. I don't care. I don't care about your decisions as an adult. I care what you're forcing on the kids. But listen, a lot of people are upset. One executive director of Women in Film, Kristen Schaefer, said, "It's keeping me up at night, worrying for myself and the wider community, especially the transgender community." They said there were more guardrails last time. Trump didn't have the House, the Senate, and the judiciary. Yeah, there were more guardrails last time. They say, "I think this will be a much bigger exodus from America this time around." Well, goodbye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Nobody's going to miss you. This is just insanity, pure insanity. And this is the ideology that they're forcing on kids. You know, we played that CNN clip a few weeks back where there was a young child who says she's fearing being shot on the street because she's transgender. That some Trump supporter is going to shoot her. It's like, no, that's not the case. We actually, our hearts break for these young kids who have been forced into this ideology and forced into this line of thinking. We want to fix it. We don't want to hurt anybody. And it does look like the problem is going to have to correct itself. Because one thing that these studios care about more than you and more than me is the almighty dollar. Listen, that's what they worship. They worship at the altar of the dollar. Hurt them where it counts, and that's in the pocketbook. And a lot of these CEOs understand exactly what time it is. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos is meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. They met yesterday, talking about a vast amount of business. And listen, a lot of these guys are coming in and they're bending the knee and they're kissing the ring. Good. TikTok also met with Trump. I'm not a huge fan of TikTok. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I wouldn't care if it disappeared. Something else will pop up in its place. Obviously, Trump does seem a little bit more okay with TikTok. He used it very effectively during his election campaign, and he was the most viral politician on TikTok by far. TikTok CEO Shu Chow met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago on Monday, and a person familiar with the meeting told CNN the company seeks the intervention of the Supreme Court in its battle with the federal government. They're worried about the federal government's ban on TikTok because of concerns with national security. I think we should be concerned about national security when it comes to TikTok. The Trump-Chu meeting is reportedly the first time the two have talked in person since Trump won the presidency on November 5th. Chu reportedly had been hoping to land sometime with the president-elect, who had been meeting with other big tech executives. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg's come in, Jeff Bezos has come in. I mean, those guys even donated money to his inauguration. It's wild. Everybody is bending the knee. They are. They have to. You have to. I mean, even Kamala Harris's digital chief during the campaign is pointing out Democrats are losing the culture. Deputy campaign manager Rob Flaherty said that they tried to turn their attention to sports because they knew that they were winning, they were losing the culture war, and they say when they were trying to introduce Harris quickly to the American people that they tried to focus on sports for some reason. I don't know why. They say that politely, one by one, the biggest personalities and shows in sports turned Kamala Harris down. Even they understand that Kamala Harris is toxic, and you're not going to win if you bring Democrats on your show. They tried. I mean, listen, you had big celebrities that are sports stars like Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, LeBron James coming out to support Kamala Harris, but nobody cared. Nobody cared. And they tried to get on a bunch of shows. I mean, they tried to get on Colin Cowherd's show. They tried to get on Bill Simmons' show. They even tried to get on the Kelsey Brothers show, and they all turned them down. I think the only one that she showed up on was the All the Smoke podcast. Do you remember that? It's a basketball podcast, but it was awkward the entire time. Completely awkward. The Democrats understand they're losing the culture war. The Democrats are panicked about losing the culture war. They should be. I mean, the current Democrat culture right now is just vile. It is awful. They're celebrating guys like Luigi Mangione, who gunned down a healthcare CEO. That's your Democrat leftist culture right now. You're pushing transgender ideology on kids. That's the leftist Democrat culture right now. Whether they want to admit it or not, they have a culture of death. They have a culture of just absurd, anti-reality positions. The Luigi Mangione stuff is wild. I got some updates on him. They had some charges announced yesterday. The Manhattan DA announced some charges. But there's also some weird stuff going on. I mean, again, this is their culture now. This is the leftist culture. They're celebrating a guy that gunned down a husband and father in broad daylight. And they're celebrating him in many, many ways. From tattoos to Etsy shops. Seriously. I'll bring you the update on this when we get back. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
TikTok gets some good news from the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll tell you about it at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We're here to announce that Luigi Mangione, the defendant, is charged with 1 count of murder in the first degree and 2 counts of murder in the second degree, including 1 count of murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism for the brazen, targeted, and premeditated shooting of Brian Thompson, who, as you know, was the CEO of United Healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the guy is a cold-blooded killer. Yet it hasn't stopped left-wing radicals from supporting this guy. They are absolutely supporting him. It's wild. You know, the Madison, Wisconsin school shooting happens. Everybody says we need gun control. Luigi Mangione guns down a healthcare CEO, and all the people on the left say we need more dead CEOs. It's weird. Weird. And you know what? It's getting even crazier and crazier. There's a socialist clothing company, and they've made a deck of cards that has the most wanted CEOs in the light of the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. It's like, remember the deck of cards where it was like most wanted terrorists? It's like that, except with CEOs. These people are celebrating a culture of death. And it's not just this card game, which he's been visited by authorities over it. They have an Etsy shop for Luigi Mangione. You can go on Etsy and buy all sorts of Luigi merch that says deny, defund, depose. All over Etsy. These people are celebrating him. You know Etsy, right? It's the handmade goods store online. It's wild. People are getting tattoos of this guy. Tattoos of the guy that murdered the healthcare CEO. I mean, that's not going to age well. That's not. Hey, Grandpa, what's that tattoo? Well, you see, back in 2024, a healthcare CEO was gunned down, and your grandpappy thought it would be a good idea to get a tattoo of his face on my thigh. Oh, gee, Grandpa, that's weird. Yeah.
How many people do you think will bounce back and try and throw a green hat on there and maybe a little mustache, try and cover
Honestly,
it up? It's just a realistic version of the games, I swear.
But you go, why are all these people supporting a cold-blooded killer? The same people who want to disarm the American population, law-abiding citizens who own guns, support a guy who uses a gun to break the law and kill someone. It's the craziest thing. The Mayor Eric Adams in New York says, he has an idea what's happening. He says American children are being radicalized to hate America and what America stands for, and this is part of the problem. You got that clip ready? Mason?
Think about the shooter.
There we go.
Ivy League, grew up in an affluent household. His manifesto clearly is showing some signs of hating. Our children are being radicalized. I said this over and over again. And everybody's like, what are you talking about, Eric? Our children are being radicalized to hate the America, to hate the country that put them where they are. This person had all that one wants to have, but he hated everything to the point of shooting someone. And we better deal with the radicalization of our young people. And, people, they could complain that I'm saying it, but I'm seeing it. I'm seeing our bench is hating the team. And we better start acknowledging and focusing on that. And so having dance parties, celebrating the death of someone, I don't support that.
No, I don't support that either. And Mayor Eric Adams, man, he's been red-pilled, hasn't he? He has seen a lot when it comes to the wide-open southern border in his city, and it's definitely radicalized him. And the way the Justice Department went after him because he saw something and said something, and now he's seeing something happening with the youth of America, and he's calling it out. Good on him for calling it out. It needs to be called out. And this notion of kids being radicalized, it is all-encompassing, man, and it's all from the media, and we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing it everywhere. Even Trump commented on this, about the left-wing support for Luigi Mangione. And Trump called it a sickness at his press conference yesterday. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. I wish that we could, take this energy that the left has and use it for something good. Use it to fix something. They don't fix anything. All they do is destroy. That's all they do. And then they ignore real problems in this country, like the wide open southern border. I want to give an update on the border when we get back. There's a lot happening on the border. I also want to give an update on some drone stuff. The drone updates are wild as well. We'll do that after Ken's newscast right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. U.S. Supreme Court says it will hear TikTok's case against the law that bans it unless it's sold by January 19th. Stephen Portnoy with the latest.
TikTok had asked the Supreme Court to delay or block the impending sale deadline. For now, the justices say they're deferring that decision until after the oral argument on Friday, January 10th. The argument will focus on whether a TikTok ban would violate the First Amendment. A 3-judge panel of the D.C. Circuit Appeals Court ruled it would not. President-elect Trump has said he has a soft spot for TikTok, but the Biden administration and a bipartisan majority in Congress say the popular app risks national security in the hands of a China-based owner.
Oral argument set for Friday, January 10th. We're monitoring reports of a major reversal from the House Ethics Committee. Jay O'Brien on lawmakers voting to release a report on former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz.
What the House Ethics Committee, according to sources, has done here at a meeting earlier this month was to vote to release this report. And that would have required Republicans crossing over party lines.
Gaetz resigned to pursue a post as Attorney General in the next Trump administration, but later withdrew his nomination over allegations of misconduct. Here in Tennessee, Rutherford County Schools Board voted to approve zoning changes for high schools last night. It says rising juniors and seniors and their siblings can stay in their current schools, but they have to confirm it and provide their own transportation. Previously approved elementary school zones changed due to the addition of Popular Hill Elementary School. A recommendation about vitamin D and calcium supplements for older people being expanded.
The issue is about preventing falls or fractures. An influential task force continues to not recommend vitamin D and or calcium supplements for women with no ill health symptoms after menopause. Now, it also says it's not helpful for men over 60 either. It's a draft recommendation from the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, an independent volunteer panel of experts. It does not apply to people who need supplements for a medical reason, who have osteoporosis, vitamin deficiencies, or live in nursing homes.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
It's 11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Thank you to our sponsors, and the show's coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to be here all weekend long for Turning Point USA's America Fest. It's going to be an absolute banger. We got a lot of great speakers lined up all weekend long, from Donald J. Trump to Tucker Carlson and everybody in between, including this next guy I want to play a clip from, Tom Homan, the incoming border czar. He had a meeting with Mayor Eric Adams, and he says things are going very well between the two of them.
Look, when I sat down, I've been calling him out for 2 years. I've been saying he forgot what it's like being a cop and became a politician. But when I sat down at that table, John, the cop came out of him. He understood. I'm not asking them to be immigration officers. I'm asking them for his law enforcement officers, work with my law enforcement officers to remove public safety threats from his community. He gets it. Unlike a lot of mayors and governors across this country who's pushing back and saying they're going to impede what we're doing, I think every elected mayor, every elected governor should want public safety threats removed from their communities. I mean, we've been clear, President Trump and I have said out of the gate, public safety threats are our priority. Help us get this job done. Everybody should be, this shouldn't be a partisan issue. Everybody should be on the same page with this. We're talking about criminals, public safety threats. And look, Mayor Adams talked about the Laken Riley. If we had a better relationship with NYPD back then, when that guy was first arrested in New York for injury to a child, he would have never made it to Georgia, and she'd be alive today. So I'm hoping that this conversation, which went very well, hope the actions follow it up. I'm looking forward to working with Mayor Adams and making New York City safe again.
I mean, there's so much truth in that 1-minute clip from incoming border czar Tom Homan, describing his conversation with Mayor Eric Adams, saying, why wouldn't a mayor want to assist us to get public safety threats out of their community? You know, it's crazy, though. There are mayors that don't want to help. Many of them. Mayor Brandon Johnson in Chicago doesn't want to help. Well, then stay out of the way, or you're going to be behind the clink with some nice new bracelets, honestly. In Denver, the mayor there, he doesn't even want to acknowledge that there's a problem. Everybody says that in Denver, it's a right-wing conspiracy theory that Tren de Aragua has taken over apartment complexes. Yet, listen, I know people that have been on the ground there that have said, no, not a conspiracy theory. It's actually happening. Actually happening. And yesterday, there were 14 arrests. And people are saying, was this Tren de Aragua? And they say, well, we don't know. It just happened at the same apartment complexes that Tren de Aragua happened to take over. And we just happened to find 2 victims tied up and tortured. Weird. This broke yesterday while we were on the air, these 14 arrests in Denver, Colorado.
It was a male and a female. They were accosted by approximately 13 to 15 armed individuals. They were pistol whipped, they were beat, they were mistreated. One of the male was actually stabbed, he had a stab wound. So does that fall in the category of torture for me? Yeah, it does. There is a high assumption that they may be affiliated with the TDA gang. I had a discussion with an individual from the White House, and that occurred back on September the 23rd, I believe. And that person basically told me that, hey, once these immigrants get across the border, that's all we really care about. And to me, that's a problem.
Wow, those are powerful words. That was the police chief in Aurora, Colorado, detailing a nightmare inside the walls of an apartment complex known to be home to members of that notorious Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. More than a dozen suspects breaking into an apartment where they tied up, pistol whipped, and even stabbed 2 innocent victims. I can barely believe it as we say it.
It was.
Yeah, no, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe unless you've been paying attention, right? If you've been paying attention, it's actually not hard to believe at all. This gang, Tren de Aragua, is vicious. These animals are savages, and they need to be removed from the country. Now, Martha Raddatz at ABC will say, it's only a handful of apartment complexes. There's only 14 of them arrested. I mean, listen, there's like 30 to 40K Venezuelans in that area. It's absolutely insane. Illegal aliens. Savannah Hernandez, friend of the show, Sav, one of the best investigative reporters that I know. She comes on the show frequently. She's been down in Colorado in those areas where Tren de Aragua was, extensive reporting, and she has a lot of local sources there. And everybody likes to talk to Sav. They tell her what's really going on. And she's got more details on the alleged torture that happened. And this is from her post on X, and she posted a screenshot just to show proof. But she says her local police source close to the alleged Venezuelan mob attack in Aurora shares that investigators on scene found that the female victim had her fingernails intentionally pulled out. In America, a violent Venezuelan gang is torturing people and tying them up, pistol whipping them, stabbing them, and pulling the fingernails of a female victim out. Oh, don't worry, it's only a handful of apartment complexes, right? Don't worry, they're just newcomers, right? Don't worry, guys. The mayor of Denver is not going to let these individuals be deported. Are you kidding me? Listen, I believe Savannah Hernandez 100%. I trust her sources. I don't think she would put it out there if it was false. But he states that this is why he believes the police chief used the term torture when discussing the attack this morning. They tied up a woman and they pulled out her fingernails. Horrific. Horrific. It says, my source shared that all the reports from this incident have since been privatized in an attempt to stop more information about the attack being made public. They don't want you to know the details. They don't want you to know the horrific truth, the horrific cost of the wide open border policy from the Biden administration, the same administration who is now selling pieces of the border wall meant for construction for pennies on the dollar. That administration. I'm just going to say it again. They pulled the fingernails out of one of these females' hand. Unbelievable. Again, it was reported that it was a group of 13 to 15 individuals. I heard 14 arrests, believed to be Venezuelan illegal aliens, kidnapping, pistol whipping, stabbing, and bounding two victims outside an apartment complex known for being a hotspot for Tren de Aragua. She posted the screenshot of the text, and the text said, I was able to speak to a supervisor on scene who had advised the investigators learned a female victim in this incident had her fingernails intentionally pulled out by one of the suspects. When attempting to verify this information by viewing officer reports, I learned the case was privatized in our system. This was done in an effort to keep case details viewable only by assigned investigators and to prevent a leak of information. Why would you want to prevent this information from getting out? Other than the fact that you don't want anybody to know how bad the situation is. And it is bad. Listen, this is a torture tactic. This is when you want to get somebody to talk. You've heard, like, the mob doing this to guys, but this gang is doing it to females? Are you kidding me? And the Denver mayor is going to try and stand in the way of Tom Homan removing these individuals from the community? The community needs to remove the mayor from his position. Make no mistake about it. All the leadership in Colorado have failed the citizens of Colorado. They need to be gone. All the Democrat leaders across the country who are grandstanding and getting on a soapbox saying, we're not going to let this deportation plan happen, they need to lose their jobs. They need to lose their jobs. You have story after story after story of the crime that is coming across that southern border. And we're supposed to just welcome these newcomers in. We're supposed to take it on the chin and, welcome these individuals into our country because, hey, they're doing the jobs Americans don't want to do, like tying up females and pulling the fingernails out of their hands. There's just not enough Americans that are lining up to do a job like that. So let's welcome these guys in. This is what they want you to do. They want you to turn a blind eye to the reality of what's happening because of the southern border. And they're selling the border wall materials in the meantime. Unreal. Ted Cruz had a message for every DHS official or anywhere else who approves of selling off the pieces of the border wall. And I don't know if these individuals are going to like the message that Ted Cruz had for him, but he delivered it nonetheless.
So Donald Trump says it's criminal. Do you agree with that, number one? Number two, he said he spoke to the Attorney General of Texas, Governor Abbott of Texas, and he spoke to both senators of Texas. Did you have a call with Donald Trump?
I've spoken to him many times. I haven't spoken to him today, but I'll tell you what the Biden administration is doing is brazen. Understand, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats, they are filled with rage, and they hate Donald Trump. We know that. But they hate the voters. They are angry at the voters for how the American people voted on Election Day. And they are trying with bitterness to do everything to frustrate the will of the voters. So on the pardons, they're trying to do everything they can to frustrate the administration of justice. And I got to say, on the question of selling off the border wall, this is one of the most offensive things I've ever seen. Let me give you an analogy. Let's say you're a sheriff, you're an elected sheriff, and you get beat. You get beaten, so there's a new sheriff coming into office. And let's say you have 10 squad cars that are $50,000 apiece. And in your last week in office, you decide, I'm going to sell all the squad cars for $100 each because I hate the sheriff that beat me, and I want to make sure the new sheriff has no squad cars. Let me tell you what that is. That is theft of government resources. Let me be very clear to every official at the Department of Homeland Security or anywhere else who approves selling off incredibly expensive portions of the border wall for $5 apiece. You are engaged in theft of government property, and you should expect the Department of Justice to investigate you and prosecute you. This is a brazen abuse of power, and it reflects the views of this White House and Democrats across the board.
Yeah, let's go. Listen, if you want to do this, you're now aiding and abetting, and the DOJ is going to come after you. Oh, Trump is going to weaponize the justice system. No. We're going to prosecute criminals. And we're going to get back to law and order in this country. We're going to get back to putting American citizens first in this country. That's what's going to be happening. This current administration can't even answer where drones are coming from in New Jersey. This current administration doesn't want to secure the southern border. This current administration wants you to turn a blind eye when a woman in Aurora, Colorado is getting her fingernails intentionally pulled out by members of Tren de Aragua. They're fine with that. What really makes them mad, though, is that you had the audacity to vote for Donald Trump. How dare you? How dare you? If you wrote a script for a movie, they'd say this is unbelievable. They're not going to make it. Yet this is the reality that we're in America in 2024. We're a month away from these problems being fixed. And you know what? As the government shutdown looms, I say shut it down. It can't be any possibly worse than what they're doing right now while they're on the clock. Seriously. It's 11:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. We're going to check in with Chad Benson when we get back, see what's coming up this afternoon with Chad here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 11:55 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I'm broadcasting live in Phoenix, Arizona. We're down here for Turning Point USA's America Fest. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Back in Middle Tennessee is the guy that used to live in Arizona, Chad Benson. What's up, Chad? Is Chad there?
Hello.
Or is it just me? Yo, what's up?
Hello.
Man? How we doing?
What's up, man?
I mean, you're back in the big chair. What do I need to do in Arizona while I'm here? You're the Arizona guy.
All right, let me tell you. It's what's the weather like today?
Oh, it's going to be 80 degrees and sunny.
Man, get over to Scottsdale. Get over to Scottsdale. What's your plan for the next couple days?
I mean, in all honesty, I'm not doing any sightseeing. I'm going to be inside a convention center working. I'm going to be working for like the next 5 days.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You're out there. I'm going to text you. I might be able to get you. Let's see. You want to go see a basketball game? I hook you up with the basketball tickets.
Ooh, don't tempt me with a good time.
I might get you to do that. I mean, there's so much to do there, man. It's beautiful. So tonight, when's it start? When's everything kick off for you?
So everything kicks off Thursday night, and Thursday night, Tucker is going to kind of be our main speaker and kick everything off, and then all weekend long, man, it's just rolling. Everybody from Tom Homan to Donald J. Trump. It's going to be wild.
So is the Donald finishing it all?
I think that he's closing it out. They're a little bit mum on the details as of right now. I haven't seen any updates, but they'll be posting the entire agenda online. You can find out when your favorite speaker is going to be there, when they're going to speak, and then it's all going to be online all weekend long.
Oh, that's going to be so awesome. There's so much to do out there. It's beautiful. How about this? Go down to the border, man.
Yes, exactly. Why not?
You're exactly 2 hours from the border, and you could cruise on down there, hang out for a little while, check things out. I think it would be a smart thing to do. That way you get a firsthand feel of what's happening.
Maybe I should go down there and find the border wall materials that they're selling and bid on them myself.
You know what? When Ducey was in charge, he started putting up, instead of wall, he put up those giant containers.
Yes.
And then, the new governor came in and she sold the containers for pennies on the dollar because that's a stupid thing to do.
Well, and then Biden and the Biden administration sued them to remove the shipping container wall.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was working. And it was working, and it wasn't costing a boatload of money.
No. I mean, we bought one. We got one. We were looking at a shipping container to put in our backyard because we moved from one house to another. We still had some extra stuff. And they were so cheap because the ones we were looking at like $6,000, and these were like $3,000. I'm like, we'll take one.
Dude, I mean, you can do so much with those shipping containers. People are turning them into houses. They bury them in the ground and turn them into bomb shelters.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure about the house in Arizona. I don't know what kind of stuff you're going to have to go through because in the summer, Lord, as you're finding out right now, it's 80 degrees and it's December.
Oh, it's so hot here. It's the only place I've ever been, during the summer where the wind blows and the wind is hot.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
It's crazy. What do you got coming up on the show today? What are you planning on getting into?
We're going to talk a little bit about some politics, some more drone stuff. We got all kinds of wacky stuff to talk about, like the most dangerous toys. They got the 10 most dangerous toys for Christmas. And, boy, we are raising veal calves. I don't know what this is. Everything's dangerous.
I love it. It makes me think of the old SNL skit with Dan Aykroyd. He's like, how about a bag of glass?
This is
what the kids want. It's a bag of glass.
It's a bag of glass right there. And little Tommy Switchblade.
Yep, little Tommy Switchblade.
So yeah, we're gonna do that. We got a lot of stuff, man. We're just gonna have some fun. Not as fun as you because you're out there in 80 degrees.
Hey man, it's gonna be awesome. I brag, but I'm actually gonna be in a 70-degree cold convention center for 4 or 5 days.
That'll be fun.
It's going to be a blast. Chad Benson in next. He's going to take care of you all day long. I'm looking forward to the drone updates. The Pentagon doesn't know, but House Oversight guys are like, no, it's China. It's China.
It's China. It's us. We're not quite sure. Could be nuclear stuff. It's all good. Don't look over here.
It's either us or it's China or it's hobbyists or dirty bombs. So take your pick.
Those are our choices.
Yeah, I love them. Chad Benson's in next. It's 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.